planned worst storm season this year. And as you see behind us, because of the piping clovers, nothing's going to happen till October here. So, you know, we really should be trying to make a plan, not just for the short term, but I'm so happy that all our elected officials are here. Ed Hennessy, Mayor Bill Biondi from Mastic Beach Village. We have Gary Sturge, the trustee, our county legislator, Kate Browning, our state Senator Lee Zeldin, and Ed is our state assemblyman. Sorry, Ed, I didn't give you your... But we also have all of you. And one of the most important things is us, the citizens. These guys can do only so much if we're not there to back them up. And if we don't all learn to get together like today, work together to protect ourselves in Mastic Beach and the peninsula, because we are the lowest lying wetlands here. We are the ones who are most vulnerable to this washover. And the fact that nothing's been done for 6 months, and I don't blame these guys, I just blame the situation. But, having said that, I, as a homeowner that looks now at the ocean, I'm scared. I'm terrified of the next storm season, and I want to know what's going to happen. I'd like a little better communication among all the officials, and not just them, the Corps of Engineers. And what I'm proposing is that we work together for long-term plans, and we figure out how we're going to move forward as the sea level rises and these storms are predicted to get worse. And I thank everybody for coming out, but I think it's really important that you see how dramatically higher those dunes are there than these dunes here. And how that really is what we should be aiming for. And as, you know, you guys all live down there too. We all live there. So we should be getting barrier island protection. There is a lot of money to build up these islands, and we just want to make sure we get our fair share. So I just want to give these guys a chance to talk. They're going to be able to tell us a little bit about what is going on, and hopefully while we're all here, maybe we can make a committee or something where we can work together and come up with a plan how we move forward in our very vulnerable area down here in the peninsula. Thank you all so very much for coming down here. I really appreciate it. Ed Hennessy. The piping clovers are keeping us down, baby.
Okay, Mr. Mitarando's asking about the piping plover. Reality is if there was houses on this beach to our east, this thing would be on its way to being filled up again, and they would make sure access would be provided to the people to the houses. Because that's the impetus behind the filling the breach in Belport Bay. And right now there's a closure plan for Belport Bay. There's emergency plans. There's funding available. There's a sand source available. All these issues that they tell us have to be resolved before they can take action. And we need to shift that priority here to be considered a washover area, which doesn't constitute the same response from the federal and county government as does a breach. So that definition that came about as a result of an agreement between the Army Corps of Engineers, Suffolk County DPW, and plaintiffs from West Hampton Dunes when Pikes Inlet opened up just east of here. That criteria for the closure of the breach is what sets the circumstances that we're living with right now. And taking advantage of the vacuum of action is the regulatory people who direct that these orange strings be put up here. If you don't know what they are, Mr. Mitarando's been going to this beach since before I was born. You know, so he knows the whole situation before they were probably even endangered. You know, but these that have the houses to the west and the houses to the east of us, this beach is not going to get built up, and we're going to be left in a very dangerous situation as the hurricane cycles continue. That's the situation that we're faced with. Thank God right now, for the first time ever that I'm aware of, and I'm 51 years old, is this area now has 2 representatives from this community at the state level. Senator Zeldin and myself, we're from down here. So we're paying attention to this, but there's an enormous amount of regulatory bureaucracy that's in the way from proper action and proper response here. And you know, as Maura indicated, we're not going to be able to do this alone. There's no way. We're going to need your voices screaming loudly. And this is a great idea coming out here, but the press is not. Is there anybody from the press here? I doubt it.
We'll do another one. We'll do another
I have one
too.
Right across the way.
We'll do one on the other side, right on the other side of Finn's is the same problem on the
How many piping plover are we talking about?
So what's going to happen here is these guys are going to start nesting in a couple of weeks.
How many?
I don't know. They'll come out. They'll mark on a GPS. They'll mark where they're going to be, and they're setting this up as an area for the plover. They'll nest, and that, mark my words, that will be the reason that they can't rebuild this dune at the end of the piping plover season, because they're going to say it's a habitat area, it's nesting, and the piping plover will be back here. But those of us who've used this beach for decades, and I'm one of them, okay, we've been working around the piping plover every summer. But we've managed to work around it. You know, with the regulatory people come out, we fence the areas off. But this is regulatory agencies out of control. They're out of control. And they got to be pushed back. And we're going to have to all work together. We're going to have to be loud, consistently loud, to push them back. And the battle's just beginning for Smith Point Beach and Mastic Beach. And I'm happy to be here to help firm it up. Mr. Miranda, there was a time.
Mike, say who you are.
There was a time when I came here like 60 years ago, and there was 3 sets of dunes here. I mean, and to go from the bay to the beach, to the ocean beach, you had 3 sets of dunes to climb, and it was a strenuous walk, carrying coolers and tents and whatnot. Take a look behind me now. There's nothing there. Let's get back to these piping plovers. I mean, it's an endangered species. We are an endangered species. Those people in Mastic Beach are an endangered species. Something has got to be done. And like you say, we have representatives from the government here. I hope to God that somebody can do something to make some kind of movement and make this thing happen. I don't want to see the piping plovers go, but you got to do what you got to do. My name is Bob Mitterando, and I want the beach back.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here, but I wish it was a whole lot closer because we lost maybe about 100 people.
I want people to see what's going on, though.
The one thing that we all got to focus on, there's a lot of rumors going around. A week and a half ago, Mr. Hennessy was on a phone conference with the DPW. I was on the phone conference, and I didn't like a lot of things that was going on in that phone conference. So what I did was I ordered all levels of government. I think the only one that was missing was Mr. Obama. We had everybody from federal, state, county, everybody you can think of in my office in Village Hall, and we talked about what's going to happen here. And the only reason why I did that is when you talk on the conference phone, you don't know who's sitting on the other side of it, and you don't know who's on that conference call. So what happens is they blame other people. And when they started to blame the DEC, that's when I said we need to meet at Village Hall. The DEC was there, and I got to say we're working very close with Mr. Scully and the DEC. He feels 100% towards this area. He's been here many times. He wants this area built up. Oh, by the way, I do disagree with Maura on the amount of sand that's there. There used to be a lot more. This beach, like Bob said, Bob's coming out here a lot longer than I have, used to be 3 different sets. And I used to get tired of walking from the parking lot to the beach area years ago. We camped right outside here in the 80s. This thing was tremendous. Why? What we came out of the meeting is that Suffolk County is putting in for the permits. Once the permits is approved, the Army Corps of Engineers is at the meeting also. They gave us a timeline of around May before everything was approved. And again, yet the earliest sand or something is going to happen around here is going to be August. That's providing we can get a dredger down here. They're not going to use these little dredges. They're going to have to use a big dredger to come in. They found a spot right offshore where they're going to take the sand from. The sand that's now in the bay that once was here can't be touched. They're going to dredge from the ocean side and fill this up to, I believe it was 15 feet?
No, well, I think they're saying 9.
Okay.
No, not enough.
Nine's not enough.
Not enough.
At one of the meetings we went to, it was originally going to go to 15 or 13. I forget which one it was. But we are on their back 24/7. The only thing I say, if somebody is not sure, just get a hold of me. I haven't lied to anybody. I don't plan on lying to everybody. I'm working day and night with all these people behind me, the legislators, the councilmen, anybody you can think of to try to get them here as quick as possible. I live on the other side of the sand dunes too, and I really don't want to get wet. And I know how hard everybody worked during the storm, fire, EMS, to make sure everybody was safe. But we get another hurricane around August or September. Everybody that worked hard and spent their hard-earned money to put their houses back together all did it for nothing. So we want to push our people up in Washington to get this done as quickly as possible. And again, we are working very close with everybody, so If anybody knows of anything different, please let me know, because the last thing that I want to see is rumors flying around, because the rumors come back to me and they said, why is people so upset with us? And I could understand why you're upset, but we're trying the best to get this done as quick as possible. And that's pretty much it.
So we had this great meeting on Friday, and as the mayor said, just about everyone was there from the different levels of government. And I just want to share some of my thoughts from that meeting, because I think the information is really what we're all here for. And Friday was helpful for me, because there were a lot of things that were discussed that I wasn't aware of before. So there are a few different ways for this project to get funded. We hear about the FIMP plan that's been around for a long time. There's also a possibility that there will be interim projects that will be done before the entire FIMP plan is implemented. So we were lobbying at that meeting for this project to be one of the interim projects to help fund it from the federal government. Another possibility was that Mayor Biondi showed some pictures of this, and they were discussing the possibility of the breach contingency plan, because it's a way to get funding very quick and to get these dunes built up very quickly. And then there was a fourth possibility that was discussed by the county, and that's if the federal government didn't improve either doing this as part of the FIMP plan, an interim plan, or the breach contingency plan, then the county would have to figure out how to do it by itself. Let me start with the fourth option, and one of the reasons why we're concerned about the option of the county doing it is just timeline. It would take a very long time. As we all know, the county does not have as much money as it would like, which makes it an added challenge. As far as the permitting process, we got it was very clear to me from what Pete Scully was saying from DEC that the turnaround time from the DEC on the permits from when a county files them would be very quick. So from a state perspective, I was very happy to hear that. I don't like, as I mentioned, I don't like the county plan. Nothing against the county, just that we have the federal government allocating, $30 billion towards New York State. Why should our local taxpayers have to pay twice? We sent our money to Katrina, to New Orleans to build up after Katrina. Now we got hit. Now hopefully we get some of that taxpayer dollars returned to us. I want to share a couple of other important things as far as information sharing. We saw after the Congress passed this bill in January, we saw this $30 billion figure get approved for New York State. The first payment has been sent to New York, and that was for $3.5 billion. So we heard that $30 billion number, but New York State doesn't have $30 billion. There was $3.5 billion sent. That $3.5 billion was spent in one of two ways. Well, it was spent two separate ways. Half of that money was spent through direct FEMA reimbursement. So we had locals, we went to the Mastic Rec Center one day, and folks were filing their paperwork. There was people, local municipalities, individuals, businesses. The direct FEMA reimbursement was about half. The other half, there was money that was actually spent already, and so that $1.7 billion, that other $1.7 billion was spent up very quickly. So now there's about $26.5 billion that's left. I met with the governor's office a few weeks back. Howard Glazer, who's Director of Government Operations for Cuomo, he said that he does not know when that next amount of money is coming to New York from the federal government. He doesn't know if it's going to come late summer or fall or winter. And when that money comes, he doesn't know how much is going to be in that money, how much that next payment is. So when we hear about the $30 billion number, what we're hearing is that's actually over the course of 4 or 5 years. We hear of a $700 million figure for this FIMP plan. What the Army Corps of Engineers rep said there on Friday was that on or around June 1st, he is supposed to get, the Army Corps gets guidance from the White House. That guidance is, and this is the first time I was learning of it, was at Friday's meeting, but that particular guidance outlines exactly how the FIMP plan is going to get implemented, and it's with that guidance that they can decide how to do this as part of the FIMP project, or maybe even as an interim project. They're stronger than you think. Wow. Hope you're not going to hit me with that. I thought I had good news. Something I said. So as far as the Army Corps goes, June 1st, on or around June 1st is a magic date. And the Army Corps is going to get this information, and then we'll have some guidance as far as how money is going to get spent. The great news about Friday's meeting, and really credit to Mayor Biondi and the village, bringing everyone together is important. You know, Maura, today, this is great. Having everyone come out and seeing this firsthand. And I think that we need to continue doing what we did on Friday, getting everyone in one room to share information. The other thing, by the way, I asked about Jones Beach. And so I see, actually Maura mentioned it to me when I saw her a couple weeks ago.
That's great.
Jones Beach is getting a lot of work done to it. And the response that I got on that is that this is Federal Department of Transportation dollars because of the parkway. That as part of the parkway project, there was a requirement that the dunes get built up. I'm just sharing the information because I want you to know what I know, because we asked about it on Friday. Right, not Sandy related too, as Kate just mentioned. So those are just a few points I want to share. I'm going to turn it over now to our county legislator. I hope some of this information was helpful. Bottom line is, the mayor mentioned May. It's possible that as early as the middle of May, the Army Corps might get this FIMP, this guidance from the White House. And once that guidance is received, hopefully the trigger gets pulled on this very quickly. Me personally, I'd be willing to take a hit on it as well. As Bob mentioned, you got to do what you got to do. Survival of the fittest. I understand that we have some plovers that are about to grow here, but we also have a lot of people whose lives are impacted on the other side. And when you go to your balcony when a storm gets hit, you want to see the bay and fire out, and you want to see the ocean. You get it. Right. I got white fish.
Oh my God! I think Lee said pretty much everything there. As we discussed, as far as the county's concerned, we are going to put in our permits or applications for permits. However, we always still have to follow, with DEC, we still have to go through the Army Corps. There is no bypassing anything. Clearly, DEC is very supportive. They will work very closely with us to make sure that things get expedited as quickly as possible. When we talked about the dredges, that's the thing that we have been looking at. The one good thing that we had last year, are you not hearing? Oh, sorry.
There you go.
I'm new to this stuff. But the one thing that I have to say is I know that we had the dredges here when they were doing the Forge River, which was very helpful because that was when we were able to get the breaches done and get them done quickly. One of the things, I know the Narrows Bay project is still moving along, so the dredges will be back to do the Narrows Bay. And, one of the things that you have to understand too is that, dredge companies, there's only a few. And that is going to be, I guess, the competition as to who can get them and when can we get them. And, obviously it's going to take a lot of money. And I have to say, we did have a very good meeting, and I want to say thank you to Bill because there's a lot of misinformation does go out. And Bill called a meeting, our mayor, called a meeting. We had all levels of government. We were all together. We want to make sure that there's a website or something that's going to be posted for the residents so that you'll be continually informed and you'll know what's going on. And I'm trying to think what else there was. But we do have another meeting coming up in June. We're going to continue to have monthly meetings, and you will continue to be getting the right information. So, if anybody has any questions or, it's not a good idea to see these rumors floating around about what's going on because obviously when I saw what was going on in Jones Beach and I opened up the paper and I said, what's going on? And then when I find out what the facts are, it was not Sandy money, it was a project prior to, before Sandy, it's highway money, it's not, it's not Sandy money that was being used.
And
a right as a human being to exist. I know a lot of times we don't feel that way, but for public safety and health reasons, we can supersede a lot of those regulatory agencies. This is one of those areas. We have to get the media involved here. So next time we have one of these, let's make sure it's where the media can walk to.
Well, we had a lot of talk just about the dunes, but you see the sign says God plans. And while we have all of you here, I know we're talking about kind of immediate short term. We need to start to discuss long-term plans. We need to take sea level rise on Long Island very seriously. And I really look forward to working with all of you to make some long-term plans of what we're going to do in the low-lying wetlands that we live in.
Rebuild our dunes!
Save us,